The field around me is one of the sites we used this spring to treat cones. These large trees had a scattering of cones, but some trees were fairly heavily, I'll use the word infested with cones, and it would have taken someone quite a while to pull them from that tree. So we didn't have blocks in this field, we had scattered trees, and we used different rates of Axxe and scythe herbicides to selectively kill the cones when they were just emerging from bud break before regular foliage had broke bud. So there's a narrow window in the spring when you can selectively kill cones and not damage the trees. And we've been working on trying to use this biological window since 2012 with different herbicides. And we're focusing in on just a couple of products at this point. Both are somewhat related to each other. They're herbicidal soaps, and one is called Axxe and the other is called Scythe. As we've focused on these two herbicides, we've struggled with how much product to apply per acre. We've struggled with the timing, we've struggled with the rates. And we've learned that we need to have very thorough coverage, and we may be able to get by with lower rates. So this year we were really looking at the culmination of all these years of research. In 2019 we were really excited to get almost 100% control with labeled rates of Axxe. All our treatments were close to 97% control of the cones. This year we wanted to use similar volumes of water per acre, but look at lower rates. After 9 years of doing research with controlling cones, we've learned that thorough coverage really is critical. And of course, there's a lot of things that can affect coverage. Size of the tree, the wind on the day we're spraying, how the sprayer is set up, all those things that affect coverage come into play. How many angles you spray the tree from is important as well. And if you don't get the coverage with these herbicidal soaps, you won't get uniform killing of the cones. So the types of damage we see with these herbicidal soaps include red needles, bud abortion, stunting, and sometimes tip dieback if the vegetative buds were broken at the time when we sprayed. If we time the treatment right, we can get virtually no damage at all. So this year we had 3 sites, one in Ashe, one in Allegheny, and this field here in Avery County. These were the biggest trees that we treated, and that makes it more difficult. We actually had better results at the other 2 sites where we were spraying trees in the 7 to 8 foot range. With these larger trees, it's just a little harder, the angle's a little more difficult, and of course here on top of Spanish Oak Mountain, it stays windy. So in this field, back in the spring, Jerry Moody and I treated these larger trees when the cones were just breaking. We used a hydraulic hose sprayer and high pressure, and applied a fairly heavy rate of Axxe and scythe herbicides to these trees. The specific rates we used were 10%, 8%, 6%, and 4% Axxe, and 5% scythe. We were looking to see how low we can push the rates to save growers money, but we already knew we needed to use large volumes of water from previous year's work. So the data we collected after treatment were the percentage of cones killed in each tree and also the damage that we observed in each tree. Most of the damage we observed in these trees was individual needles turning red, but not the whole shoot. Here's the data for all 3 sites from 2020, showing the percent of cones killed using Axxe. At the lowest 4% rate, you can see we had variation from over 80% of the cones killed to just over 50% of the cones killed. As we moved to 6%, we were very consistent at 2 sites with results of 96 to 99%, and above that close to 100%. At this field in Avery County with the larger trees, we saw a little less control at 6%, but very consistent near 100% control at both 8 and 10%. So again, we see a difference with the amount of wind and the size of the trees. As you look at the data from 2020, most of the treatments resulted in none or almost no damage at all. In Allegheny, we did see a little bit of damage at the 2 higher rates, both less than 5% of the trees involved. The damage with scythe was consistently higher across the 3 sites, ranging from 3% to 7% of the trees exhibiting symptoms. The damage we observed this spring consisted mostly of some red needles and a little bit of stunting here and there. This time of year, the red needles are gone, and so on a lot of trees, the damage that we recorded doesn't even show up. All in all, the damage on Axxe was very light. We did see more damage with the scythe, and that's been consistent to our results from previous years, even with different rates from what we used this year. The results from this year's study are really exciting. We were able to get good results with below labeled rates, which mean a savings for growers. We were able to kill cones with all the rates of Axxe that we used. However, the lowest rate at just 4% product, we didn't get the same consistency as at the higher rates. But we did get excellent control at 6%, 8%, and 10% rates of Axxe. So I'm really excited about the results that we got this year controlling cones. As we look at the different rates of Axxe, I think we could possibly see a range in recommendation depending on the conditions in the field to be treated. When you've got fairly short trees and good conditions for spraying, and you can count on getting good coverage, I think that 6% rate would be plenty. As we move into larger trees or conditions where maybe you're fighting more wind, then I think a higher rate of 8% would be ideal. Biosafe Systems, the company that produces Axxe herbicide, has been interested in our work and has actually provided product for us to use over the years. I've had discussions with them about adding Christmas trees to the label, and I think they're very interested in doing so. Finally, this year, I think we've got the results where I can go to them with confidence.